Tonight at 10, cooperate or perish, the grim warning to the nations of the world on the threat posed by climate change. As leaders gather in Egypt for the latest climate summit, the UN tells them that progress on limiting emissions and global warming is woefully inadequate.
We are on a highway to climate hell with our foot still on the accelerator.
The measures to combat climate change, which were agreed last year, have seen very little progress, despite more evidence of the devastation that's being caused.
Climate security goes hand in hand with energy security. Putin's abhorrent war in Ukraine and rising energy prices across the world are not a reason to go slow on climate change.
But there have been some positive developments here in Egypt. An agreement to discuss payments towards the impact climate change is already having.
Yes, we'll have the very latest on the first day's deliberations at the climate summit in Egypt, also tonight. 5 years after the fire at Grenfell Tower, which claimed 72 lives, the official public inquiry is drawing to a close. Biden rallies the party troops for the midterm elections, while Trump is still claiming the presidential election was stolen. We report on the increasingly deep divisions in American society.
How fast could you run in these slippers when you were here?
And the star comedian Peter Kay announces his long-awaited return to the road with his first live tour in 12 years.
And coming up on the BBC News Channel, Liverpool draw holders and 14-time winners Real Madrid in the last 16 of the Champions League.
Liverpool FC. This time it's Liverpool FC.
Good evening. The Global Climate Summit, known as COP27, has started in Egypt with the darkest of warnings from the head of the United Nations. Antonio Guterres said that the world was on the highway to climate hell, with no sign of slowing down, and that humanity needed to cooperate or perish. He declared that the climate crisis was now the defining issue of our times. Well, last year's climate conference in Glasgow did actually agree a number of pledges on cutting emissions, on phasing down, as they say, the use of coal, on stopping deforestation, cutting levels of methane. But the UN says that progress on cutting emissions certainly has been woefully inadequate. The planet has already warmed by 1.1 degrees Celsius since pre-industrial times, and scientists have long insisted that going beyond a rise of 1.5 degrees would see catastrophic effects for people all over the world. Well, without urgent action, the world is now on track for a devastating 2.7 degree increase by the end of the century. That's according to the Climate Action Tracker website. Our climate editor, Justin Rowlatt, is at the summit in Egypt, and he sent this report.